Oh, man, I hate Mondays.
Nah, man, it's Tuesday.
Wait. What day is it?
You know what day it is. Tuesday. Brewsday Tuesday.
Oh, fuck yeah! It's time for Brewsday Tuesday, brought to you by the Cellar and Six Pack Store. Here's DreZ and Big Nate.
There we go. It is Brewsday Tuesday, brought to you by the Cellar Restaurant and Six Pack Store in downtown Blacksburg. My name is DreZ. We got Big Nate in here with us, and we are in Studio B because we got a couple of guests. Not just one Scot, but two Scots are in the house from the Great Wilderness Brewing Company that is going to be coming soon. Hopefully we can get the details. You've always teased me of when it's actually opening, so I don't know if there's a date yet or maybe we can get an idea. But Scot and Scot, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for bringing beer. I heard the pops. Usually, I didn't know what to do with myself because usually I'm like showing the label off.
I realized like halfway
video.
through the intro, I'm just
like kind of sitting here. So you guys just popped some beers from the. It's Great Wilderness Brewing Company. I know you don't officially have a location open yet, but obviously it's coming and stuff. But you're already brewing the beer, and in fact, I think is this going to get confusing? I might need to go by last names, perhaps. What's the best way to differentiate the two of you?
Well, you can just call me Rocky.
Rocky and Bullwinkle?
There you go.
Moose and Squirrel.
Hey, that'll work.
All right. Well, Bull over here is the brewer. We got Brewer Bull. And so So this is all the stuff that we're drinking today is your brainchild, I guess?
It is, yeah. After years and years of working with Scot here, we've been coming up with a bunch of recipes that we're going to be brewing at the Brewing Pulaski. So
I was going to say, really, it's a collaboration. You guys kind of, I mean, you're the master brewer, head brewer or whatever, but it's you guys kind of spitball the ideas because you, Rocky, have been in the world of beer for quite some time, correct?
Correct. I've been on the marketing side in the craft beer industry for over 14 years. So, and it's from Colorado and moved out here 6 years ago and decided that we're going to take off with a brewery here and ended up meeting Scot, and it was a perfect fit, right off the bat. I actually talked to quite a few different brewers, things of that nature. And when I met Scot, he was like, to be honest with you, the best way to know what kind of beer I brew is to maybe have me brew a beer that you want me to brew. So, and at that time I said, okay, well, how about a milkshake IPA? And he came back and just killed it with a mango milkshake IPA.
And what year was this?
3 years ago? 4 years ago?
I think it's going on 4 years now, yeah.
4 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, all right. So you've been doing, I was going to say, because the milkshake IPA has been somewhat of a newer, I mean, you can see them more common now, but 4 years ago, it was still pretty new sort of a flavor on the block.
What was interesting, it's actually been around longer than that on the Midwest and West Coast. So when I came here, I didn't see many people even doing it. It was, it was an area that I wanted us to tackle, just because it's been around, Midwest and West Coast tend to be, front runners in a lot of new styles and different types of beers to do.
I got you. Well, I would ask, is a milkshake IPA what you guys just popped? I mean, we need to be drinking beer as we discuss this stuff. Start pouring, fellas.
Absolutely. So,
what do you got? What do you got for us?
So we're going to start off with some of our fruit beers. We're going to do a watermelon kolsch, and then we have a strawberry cream ale to try out first. All
right. Well, let's give this a go. So which one are? So I know that. So Rocky and Nate are going to drink the same beer, and me and Bull are going to drink. So which one did you just hand me? Is this the Kolsch?
So that's the Kolsch.
All right, watermelon Kolsch. So I am a big fan of watermelon. That's one of my all-time favorite fruits, if not my favorite fruit. However, I don't like any watermelon flavored stuff. So I'm wondering, is this like real watermelon?
It is, and we actually process that ourselves. So went and picked the sweetest watermelon we could find, juiced it, and that added that right into the secondary. So we've actually done this beer 2 or 3 times now. We were pushing the envelope on how much of the watermelon puree or juice we could add this time. So it's pretty watermelon forward.
Wow. So you guys, well, here's the question, man. How do you go about picking your watermelon to make sure it's sweet? Did you have to go through a whole ton before you I always I always knock on it. Yeah, I always knock it. And then
bigger the yellow spot and the more hollow the sound.
That's exactly right. All right. So I trust that you know how to pick your, those are the two exact things that I was taught how to do. So awesome, man. So you hopefully did use some good watermelon for it. I mean, let me go in here. All right. Well, I'll save my review for later when we untap it. But man, you can definitely taste the watermelon. That almost tastes like, because I don't know if I might be in the outliers of this, but I even, after the watermelon, you know, if you get the end and you got the bowl, you got to drink the water from the watermelon, right? I mean, that almost tastes like straight up watermelon juice. That's crazy.
I mean, I think that's kind of what you're looking for when you have a fruited beer. I think I hate it when you get something and it'll
just pure
the bottom in the fine print, the flavoring of the fruit, and it's like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
Like, I know pumpkin's one that's hard to like do because a lot of it's just canned squash.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one thing Scott and I agree on. It's different if you're brewing a beer for competition, for like fruit beer style, because that really needs to be a harmonious blend of, you know, base beer and the fruit. Whereas if we're brewing for ourselves, we like things a little more forward. You know, we want people to pick up on that fruit as soon as they stick their nose in the glass. So
there's no question about that. But all right, so you guys have been working together brewing for 4 years. How long have you been brewing? How did you get into the game of beer and brewing? And yeah, what's your story there?
I was up in Boston working for a few years. Had some roommates at the time. We decided we wanted to go ahead and brew some beer. Went to a local homebrew supply store, and they hooked us up with a Lagunitas IPA clone, I think was the first thing that we did. It was a partial mash, pretty simple. And it actually came out great. You know, for the first time, I hear horror stories of when it doesn't come out great the first time.
You want to hear one? I can tell you what happened to me.
I mean,
that's why I quit brewing.
No, it turned out great. And so I moved back down here to Virginia. It was one of the first things I did. I went and did all this research, found out exactly what I needed to do, all grain brewing, and really just went into the weeds, down the rabbit hole, and, you know, really got into it and kind of joined a local homebrew club. And that's actually how I met Scott, was through that.
Okay, sweet. So yeah, I mean, that's really what you got to do is just delve in deep and learn as much as you can about the craft, because no pun intended. I mean, there's just such a wealth of knowledge, and there's so much that you can do with it. I mean, it's impossible to learn it all. I mean, you can always be learning and improving your trade and game. So, Scott, I know you've been working in the industry, mainly the other side of things. So what swayed you to start doing and getting into actually trying to open a brewery, Great Wilderness?
You know, when I moved here, there wasn't a lot of breweries here at that time. You know, and then all of a sudden, a lot of breweries just started recently opening here in the New River Valley. And when I moved here, I missed what I had in Colorado. You know, when you had all these, you can go to so many breweries. You can pop out for a day and just bounce around to so many different breweries easily. Mm-hmm. You know, but I couldn't do that here in the New River Valley. You know, and now we're getting to a point now where we have a great group of breweries here that you can actually take a day and just hop around to some breweries and, you know, try some different beer and just enjoy different atmospheres. And so it's like, so I knew I wanted to do one, you know, and it just evolved into where we're at this stage.
Well, and I know that it's obviously you guys have been working together for 4 years, so it's certainly not something you can just do overnight. There's a lot of red tape you got to go around, and I know that it comes to ABC laws and zoning, and I mean, we were recently just talking about J.H. Bard's and how, like, you know, they were planning to go over to Blacksburg, and oh no, you can't open a spot there, and so I know there's a lot that goes into it, and I know that you've been really working hard with the town of Pulaski and getting your spot all set up. And I want to hear more about where you are with that and how that's going in a little bit. But first, I guess because there's so much to talk about. And we got, if I'm not mistaken, by the way, this is going to be a 3-parter because you brought 6 different beers for us to try. So maybe what we should do is go ahead and untap these beers, give our thoughts on this. We'll play a song and come back and drink some more beers. And then I want to get an update on what the latest is with what's happening at the groundbreaking Pulaski Brewery that's going to become a Great Wilderness Brewing Company. Nate, how is yours tasting? Is it nice and fruity?
So, I mean, I haven't had a lot of fruit cream ales. This might be one of the very best things I've ever drank. I find it hard to believe. I mean, I trust that the watermelon kolsch will be delicious, but strawberries and cream, you don't get a much more natural pairing than that. I mean, I don't want to do it because I already have the reputation. It's a 5.
Let's go ahead, man.
It's a 5.
I already know. So
It's delicious.
Truth be told, this is not my first beer from Great Wilderness Brewing Company. Was kind enough to get over there and get a little taste over at your spot, Scott. Honestly, I want to say there was like 10 beers on tap or something over there.
Yeah, I think I had 8 at that time. Beers at that time.
I've tried, and one of the things that I really enjoy about what you're doing over there is you have such a vast variety of styles, which case in point, what all you different stuff that you brought today that I'm looking forward to trying. But even if it's something that you might not particularly love style-wise, I mean, this beer right here, I could have been blind. I could even not be able to have my sense of smell, but just on taste alone, that's 100% watermelon and nice and light and easy drinker. I don't know if I would have guessed Kolsch. Maybe just because I'm not so refined and no Kolsches, but this tastes exactly as it should be, man. A watermelon Kolsch. Unlike anything I've ever had before, frankly. It almost tastes like I was drinking watermelon juice beer, which is, I think, what you were going for on that one, man. So to the style, I'm going to leave room for improvement. I'm not going to throw out 5s right out the gate because I know there's some stuff coming that I think I'm going to like maybe even more than this beer. But on the Untapped scale, I'm going to give this one a 4.75. That is amazing. Are you guys on Untapped? Do you untap your own beers is even a question. First of all, are you on Untapped? I would imagine so. You're in the beer world. You have to be familiar with the app, which we like to utilize and plug, even though they haven't given us even a damn sticker at this point, 8 years in, but still, we love and use the app quite regularly. Is it sort of seen as a necessary evil from y'all's seat, the Untapped?
It's different on the beer side of things. A lot of breweries really love it, and some breweries don't. There's a lot of business sides to Untapped on whether certain breweries will use it or not.
Mm-hmm.
But we are on Untapped, and we will be on Untapped on the professional side once the brewery opens as well.
Gotcha. All right. Well,
is it like Yelp for beer?
Yeah,
because I feel like some of the things I've seen, like it's like I don't. Someone's got a beef with the brewer or something.
Well, I mean, it's everything's it's based on somebody's opinion, and a lot of on the consumer side, everybody rates it for fun, and a lot of breweries will actually use it, to get feedback on the beer, and so sometimes people will rate you. There's a lot of love and a lot of hard work that goes into making a beer, no matter how much somebody doesn't like a beer.
mm-hmm.
So when people rate beers, say under a 3, it's what. At that point, it's it's one thing if there's like off flavors or something that's really wrong with the beer, but there's still a lot of stuff that goes into that beer to make it rated at least something, as opposed to like rating somebody a 1 type of deal.
Yeah, I mean, case in point, this watermelon Kolsch. Like, I mean, you have to sort of gauge your own rating scale. Now, if I'm going to a brewery and I look at the menu, a Kolsch is never going to be my first pick. Never, because that's just not a style that I really seek out or love or appreciate. And that being said, just because this is a beer that I, wouldn't be my first choice, I still realize what it is. This is a beer, this is a Kolsch that's done well. It's exactly what you want. So that's how I would think, and I imagine you would appreciate that sort of rating scale. And I guess maybe it's because I am, been doing it for so long and I've talked to so many brewers that's kind of the vibe I get. Is that sort of how you think? So it's not, I don't gauge it on the actual my tasting. I try and think of it almost as if I was in a beer like contest or like I was a judge at an actual
yeah, that's a good way to
beer festival or something. I'm not there. It's not based on what my personal opinion is. I do factor that in. Of course, you have to factor that in, but you still, just because by that account, I would just give every regular coffee stout or something like a 2 because I don't drink coffee.
You can get into so much where it's like you have some, maybe you don't like a porter, so why rate a porter?
Yeah.
Why? So that I know not to come back to that one. Well, I would do that, and my argument to that would be if you don't try a porter, if you don't ever try it, you might not know. Because, I mean, Case in point, I didn't even drink beer. I didn't even really like beer until I was in my mid-20s.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until you start trying it and trying different things that you eventually start to like it.
Absolutely. And I mean, and what I mean by that is sometimes people will rate it and they rate it low because they don't like them.
Mm-hmm. But then
you're rating it the wrong way.
Yeah.
You know,
Is it true to style? Right?
Exactly.
And if it is, but you still don't like the style, then either maybe don't rate it or rate it.
Case in point,
This is a perfect
3.5.
Pilsner. I hate it.
or just realize,
Give it a 2.
that if it's not something to your liking, just give it a 3, and then okay. Because honestly, frankly, if I look at my scores, if it's not over a 4.5, then that's or at least a 4. Then that's probably not a beer I really would want to drink again.
Yeah.
Honestly. So, all right, we went on a little bit of an untapped tangent there. We got Scott and Scot from Great Wilderness Brewing Company in with us. We're going to take a break. We'll play a song. We'll I want to try the fruit cream ale, and then I guess you guys got some more brews for us. Obviously, I would hope you know this. We are a rock station, and we usually let our guests pick the tunes that we play on Brewsday. So I don't know if you guys are rockers, but is there a certain song that perhaps you would like to hear, or at least a certain band that you're a fan of that you want me to play? I'll let you go first, Rocky.
you would.
You're the Rocky. You're the Rocky
of
the bunch.
I'm an Ozzy fan, so.
Oh. I think we got some Ozzy in the library. We'll go ahead and throw some Ozzy on then, and we'll be back with more Brewsday Tuesday. Great Wilderness Brewing Company in the house right here with 105.3 The Bear. Stick around.